was then forced to walk up one of the longest jet bridges I've encountered, and she didn't stop. By the time she let me reach the wheelchair and sit down, my lips were white. My oxygen levels had dropped and I almost fainted.
Okay, so last time we talked about jaebae, she was demanding that airlines provide her free seats because she's plus sized.
My petition states all plus size passengers should be provided with an additional seat or 2 or 3 depending on their size and need.
She also made some other demands like wider elevators, wider hallways, bigger towels. Basically, just make everything bigger so that she can fit in them, and make it all free because she's oppressed. Except the oppression is by herself because she chooses to eat the food. But not sure the logic tracks or whatever, but she is back and she is very angry. Recently, she went on yet another airplane ride. By the way, how many rides does she actually take? Is this Taylor Swift? Why are you flying everywhere? Dear God, give the airplanes a break. Anyways, so she went on another airplane ride and she requested wheelchair assistance by the employees, as she always does. You know, gotta take that spot away from the disabled people. And basically, when one of these employees actually walked up to her and saw her size, they refused to give her service. And because of this, jaebae actually wants them fired.
My ordeal at SeaTac Airport will shock you. This experience I'm about to share with you is yet another example of why employee sensitivity training, a demand outlined in the plus-size travel petition, is desperately needed. I'm a plus-size wheelchair user, and on a recent flight to the SeaTac Airport, I requested wheelchair assistance, as I always do. When it came time for me to deplane, I saw the employee who would be assisting me with my wheelchair waiting for me in the entry of the jet bridge. As I approached her and she realized she'd be assisting me and not one of the smaller passengers, she started to walk away with the wheelchair while making comments about my size. Even when I told her I really needed the chair and needed her to let me sit down in it, she blatantly ignored me and kept walking.
All right, first off, I gotta address the sad music, okay? Stop it, all right? You are not a victim. You are not convincing anybody with this absolute BS, trying to set the mood like, oh my God, my dog died over here tonight. Calm down, Princess Gumball. So there's a couple reasons why the employee might not have served you. Number one is they probably expect old people who don't have the energy or the physical ability to walk. They maybe expect disabled people who genuinely need these wheelchairs and can't get around. So when they see somebody like you, when they see somebody like jaebae over here, it's just not what you expect and not what they signed up for. They might think you're abusing your fat status. I didn't know that was a status, but yeah, might think you're abusing your fat privilege, so to speak, and you're taking away wheelchairs from actual disabled people, and maybe they're angry at that and they didn't want to serve you. Also, she probably saw you walking just before this, like maybe like in this video over here, you're walking perfectly fine over here, and maybe she was convinced that you didn't actually need it. And option number two, very likely possible. I just don't think any normal human being can actually push you around. Like, I'm not even trying to make fun of her or anything. Like, objectively, it's probably really hard. So maybe on a flat surface, sure, I could push her. Maybe down a hill, yeah, pretty easy. Unless like she picks up momentum and then you have to stop her, that would be pretty hard. But what if the employee had to push you upwards on an incline or a ramp, right? That is significantly harder, and she would have to lift a portion of your weight. Heck, I've been grinding out the gym recently, and even I would have trouble, okay? I've been making some decent gains, not to brag, all right? At least a little bit above average, I'd say, all right? And I'd still be pretty scared, okay? I just don't do 600 pounds. That would be overtraining over there. None of my lifts come close to that, okay? So obviously, I would guess that the average woman employee would obviously struggle to push you up. So after this, she talks about how she was forced to walk, and she presents it like it's a horror story.
I was then forced to walk up one of the longest jet bridges I've encountered, and she didn't stop. By the time she let me reach the wheelchair and sit down, my lips were white. My oxygen levels had dropped and I almost fainted. This was my first time flying without oxygen.
Okay, isn't that a little bit dramatic? I mean, somebody made you walk just a little bit and your oxygen levels dropped? What are you, in the airplane? What is this turbulence going on? Is the air too thin? You need to put on your oxygen mask? Holy shit. What do you mean your lips went white? Your face went pale? They pulled off your toenails one by one? Are you in a torture camp? What's next? They hid the jelly donuts? Not the jelly donuts! Listen, that is not normal. All right, that is just not healthy. Mrs. Healthy at any size, Mrs. Fat Acceptance over here, Mrs. Being fat is great, guys, except when you actually have to walk about a 10-meter distance. Then you need an oxygen mask, of course, and 6 years of therapy to deal with the psychological horror that comes with walking about 10 meters. I would actually give that employee a medal because they did you a favor by refusing you service. Because by forcing you to actually walk by yourself just a little bit, they probably restarted some of your organs, right? This has probably restarted some of your functions, stimulated some blood flow in your body, got the blood flowing, making your heart pump a little bit faster. That might have honestly been the start to you getting back like 1 year of your life or something. And the fact of the matter is, you can walk, okay? We've seen you walk multiple times, all right? You just choose not to walk because it's hard. And I'm no psychopath here. I get it. I have empathy here. I know it's hard, okay? Even walking is hard. Pretty much walking for jaebae is the equivalent to one of us running like a marathon or something like that. Because when you're large and you have a lot of fat, everything is obviously harder. I mean, freaking breathing is probably harder because all of the fat is just getting in the way. Walking is harder because you're pretty much just walking around with weight strapped to your back at all times. And obviously that's going to make it more difficult. But here's what you can do, okay? Walk a little bit, and then when you get tired, you calm down, you stop walking, you breathe a little bit, you sit down, you recover your energy, and then you get up and walk again. You know what that is? That is exercise. That's how exercise works. And that's pretty much what everybody does. Now, granted, they aren't resting after walking, but pretty much everybody's repeating the same set of actions there. Like, most people can at least go for a little jog or something, and then they'll take a break, and then they'll jog again. Or if you're lifting weights, same thing. You lift for a bit, you rest for a bit. You lift for a bit, you rest for a bit, right? And, you just have to start at the level below. Like, everybody has that one exercise they really struggle with or whatever. When you first walk into the gym, you obviously start with a very low weight unless you're like genetically gifted or whatever. You start with no weights. It's pretty humiliating, whatever, is what it is. But nobody actually cares, you stick to it, you build it up, and then a year passes and you make progress. Maybe if jaebae sticks to walking a little bit every single day, maybe at the end of the year, she can actually, start walking like a normal person and she won't get as tired, right? Because that's how progress works. And I feel like she can do it, okay? Even at this size, I think she can do it. I do believe in jaebae over here, but she needs to stop listening to all these social media fat activists like herself. Pretty much she's kind of fed into it, but I'm pretty sure she was inspired by somebody, right? You don't just come up with this nonsense logic by yourself. You want somebody who preaches the similar things as to what you want to hear, and then you think it's a good thing, and then you start preaching it yourself. So you got to stop listening to these people who just want you to die, and probably listen to the doctors, maybe the health experts, maybe the people who have better lives that you actually want to live, to be comfortable in your own body.
This woman just assumed I could walk and would rather me do that, instead of her having to push someone my size up the jet bridge. All the other attendants wheeled their passengers up the jet bridge, but my needs were disregarded. This is discrimination. Nobody should be treated this way. Share your story at change.org/size travel.
With all due respect, jaebae, this is not discrimination. The reason all the other people got their wheelchairs is because they were normal cases. That woman employee probably just saw you walking and thought that you didn't need it. She didn't assume anything. She saw you walking. That is enough logic to back up her assumption. Or as I pointed out before, she legitimately probably could not push you up that ramp and didn't even bother trying. It really depends on the angle of the ramp. The more steep the ramp, the harder it is to push somebody up. I'm no trigonometry expert. I was in high school, but it's been a while and I'm a dropout YouTuber now. But I remember a couple things. Sine 30, half, tan 30.577. I know that's right because I'm a genius. Whatever. I don't know how that's relevant though. Do the math, okay? Gravity, okay? And mass. You got a lot of mass, so that's a lot of force needed to compensate. Hopefully that made some sense. But anyways, she posted this caption with the video. Wasn't sure when I'd share this, but staying silent isn't an option anymore. Talking like she's coming out about SA or something. If you face something similar, you're not alone. Discrimination is real, and I don't want anybody else to ever experience something like this. I don't plan on stopping the fight for change in travel industry and beyond. Everybody deserves respect and dignity regardless of size, ability, or any other factor. Let's stand together to ensure equality for all, but don't stand longer than 10 seconds or she's gonna need oxygen support. Hashtag flying while fat, traveling while fat. Okay, what is this music? Sad song by piano and violin. Here's what the comments are saying. Did you consider the employee who had to assist you? Airport agents have physical limitations too. I was injured doing this and was off for 8 weeks at half pay and now on modified duty. Not fair for us. Yeah, apparently the #1 cause of injury for like nurses is turning over fat people. Like, I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know where I read that or whatever, but it's crazy. Thank God you survived. I have a feeling that's a little bit sarcastic. Posted on Reels. Just needs more exposure. This is a sinister comment. JB will actually see this and be like, okay, I'll post it on Instagram Reels, and then just get brutally roasted. Okay, so after this, she made a couple of follow-up videos to the situation, and she was just responding to some comments. And it seems in this next video, she's playing Kendrick Lamar in the background, which is accurate. I mean, she's definitely not like us, so yeah.
Oh, honey, let me educate you real quick. First of all, those seats you're worried about, they're all mine. And they were paid for by a company that values me and knows plus-size people deserve to travel comfortably just like everybody else.
Okay, so we already established what happened in a previous video. She actually did get free extra airline seats, and there was a policy that fat people get free airline seats. And obviously nothing is for free. The rest of the passengers just end up paying that extra price just to accommodate you, which is a bit unfair. Honestly, it's a bit like taxes, which I also hate. But basically, it was not free. It was free for you, but everybody else had to pay for it.
Let's get real. Plus-size passengers should always have the space. They need to travel comfortably without extra charges, just like the one person, one fare policy in Canada suggests. But while you're busy counting seats, I'll be over here continuing to advocate to change the status quo so everybody is treated fairly. How about that for a push-up?
Yeah, that was just not a push-up. This is a push-up. And that's probably the worst comeback in the history of mankind. Hey, you asked me to do a push-up. I didn't actually do a push-up, but instead I'm advocating for people to be fat and die early, but it's okay because you get free privileges like airline seats. But again, I can't walk 10 meters without an oxygen mask, so just great argument there. I'm 6'6" and have to pay extra for more legroom. If you need more space, you pay for it. No free pass. I don't believe this guy is 6'6", but all right. Now, if you take up 2 seats, you pay for 2 seats. My husband is 6'6" and needs to pay for it. Wait a minute. Is this your husband? Is the husband and wife in the comments? How many people are 6'6", dude? Holy shit. Isn't that like a really small percentage of the population? What is going on here? I'm 6'6". Should I go? Okay, dude. No. You're telling me there's 3 people in this comment section who are 6'6". No need to purchase 2 seats if you flow over into a second seat. Flow over. That is the same energy as she is well fed. Like, these insults are next level. Anyways, after this, she responds in 2 more videos, but I can't be asked to actually play them and listen to that AI TikTok voice, so I'm just gonna read them myself and respond. Okay, so they responded to the 6'6" comment. First, I don't think tall people should have to pay extra for seats. There's a difference between paying for extra leg room solely for comfort and needing it to be safe and fly with dignity. Really? You're flying with dignity? Again, not to be rude, but that is not dignity. That is exactly the opposite of dignity. Then she says, why is it when average size people bring up airplane seats being too small, it's valid, but when plus size people bring it up, they're the villain? Explain that. Well, because most people have that problem. Most places should be suited to the average individual size, and airplanes are just a little smaller than that, which is mildly annoying. Okay, and even the fact that everybody complains about it, they're not demanding it. Like, they're not starting petitions over here that it actually changes or anything like that, and they're not thinking that they're oppressed. They're not thinking that they're discriminated against. They understand, you know, it's probably because of like they're cutting costs or something, and you know, you can always pay for more space if you don't like their services. Use another airline or, you know, upgrade to business class, upgrade to first class, whatever, if you got the money. It just is what it is, you know? All right, so she's responding to another comment here. You don't deserve anything. You're the size of 3 people, so you pay for 3 seats. Simple. And then jaebae looking really smug over here. Those are some fancy glasses. I don't think there's any glass there. It's just a frame. That's weird. Let's get something straight. Access to public transportation, including air travel, is a civil right. I don't know a single person on the planet who flies as much as you, okay? Are you Taylor Swift's twin sister over here? What's going on here? You performing at all these concerts? I've covered you about 4 times, and every single time you're on a goddamn airplane. Why are you flying so much? Holy shit. Like, I feel like flying would be the absolute worst hobby for a plus size individual. Like, the amount of walking you got to do in airports, that should annoys the hell out of me. So like, how are you getting through this? I mean, obviously you just have people push you around, but goddamn, that's gonna be so annoying for the employees who just constantly have to lug this person around, dude. That's crazy. That means plus size people do deserve to travel comfortably and without discrimination. It's not about entitlement. It's basic human rights, of course. Is the other stuff basic human rights too? You know, like wider towels, wider elevators, wider hallways. That is one of your demands. Wider hallways. Is that a basic fucking human right? What? I think she's holding a seatbelt behind this caption over here, and she obviously needs one of them like extended hyper stretchy ones, or like, I don't know, double decker triple length ones or something, because obviously a normal seatbelt ain't cutting it. And God forbid the guy in front of you wants to recline. Dear God, that guy's gonna fucking bounce back and like get recoil damage or something. Listen, I'm probably gonna be on YouTube for a very long time, so if I check around in around 5 to 10 years and I see you dead on my timeline, I'm not gonna celebrate, okay? I'm gonna be horrified, but I'm not gonna be surprised either, because it's the most obvious thing that's bound to happen at this point. So I highly encourage you to take care of yourself. You know, it's never too late to change. Maybe find some, you know, friends and family that can support you through your journey, and for your own sake and for your loved ones, you know, come on, you gotta make a change. To anyone out there struggling with their weight, could just know you can do it, okay? Just believe in yourself. You know, look up all the videos of, you know, inspiring people. Stay away from all these toxic people, and, you know, just stick to it, okay? Small habits daily, and in a year or 2, you'll look back and you'll be like, holy shit, my life is so much better, you know?